referee's not going to call the fact that your teammate, that one of your players said the phrase, "I have a man."
Okay.
He's going to call the manner in which he does it. No one actually goes out to a field and says, "I'm going to make a poke check." Right? No one's going to go out to the field and say, I'm gonna try to check the stick away from this guy underhand. I mean, no one actually says the things that they do. This is one of the one times that we kind of just happen to have said it in the game. The idea is you still take it with the same mentality that you've done in every other type of defensive maneuver that you've made in the sport, which is within the rules, within a certain amount of control. And what we're trying to emphasize at the 3-4 level is that there is control in how you can approach man ball. That is the point. That there is control in how you can approach man ball. And more specifically, we need to focus on that at the 3-4 level. So that when the kids are bumping up, because we have so many more kids now playing at our younger ages, so when the kids are coming up, they have a better understanding of how to find the ball and how to move it. And the reality is that if your player learns how to box out first to play man ball, he can actually read the play better than if he's actually trying to put his face into somebody else. He can probably get open faster to make the next play. So that's the reality.
Are we good on that explanation?
Yeah, I just want to make sure that my kid calls, "I got man."
We're not going to call it.
I think we just phrase it, don't say that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's free as language.
No what?
Okay. So real quick clarification. In the 2012 NFHS rulebook that you guys get mailed from U.S. Lacrosse, when you're a member and you become a member of U.S. Lacrosse, in the rulebook, on the back of that rulebook are the 2012 youth rules. The rule reads as what it says in that rulebook. It says no man ball. And it talks about how I just described it as teaching kids to put their face in someone's chest, as opposed to figuring out other finesse types of ways to make contact with the player, not necessarily needing to make a body check with the player. That is one.
And let's you know what? Let's continue on that one, because this is a big one that most teams are guilty of doing. When there is a man ball at any age, if the ball is down and you're outside of 5 yards of that ball, that halo around the ball. Everybody know what I mean by that halo? The circle around the ball. If you're outside the 5 yards and you're blocking somebody out, that's interference. You can't do that. Anything inside the 5 yards is what we look for. If it's outside that 5-yard circle, no, for man ball, for man ball. If it's outside that 5-yard circle, that's going to be interference. So just try to teach your players that. It's a hard thing to do, but the closer you are to the ball, the better. And believe it or not, you're not going to get as physical if you're that close, because you don't have much room to move around. Less maneuvering, less injury, typically. So keep that in mind. I also call interference, I like to call this is one of those rules that rarely is enforced, because it doesn't happen as often. But if you're the attack team and you're running around the crease, your ball, the guy with the ball, let's say he's an X behind the cage, he's looking for somebody to pass to, your man's running in front of the crease, the defensive player is blocking him from running. That's a flag down situation. That's going to be a foul. Okay, that's interference. That's a 30-second technical foul. So that defending player that blocked his movement, the attacking team has free movement in the crease area. You can't take them out. You can go shoulder to shoulder with them, and you can touch them with the stick. But you cannot move. You can't keep their forward momentum. They can't keep them from having their forward momentum. So important that you understand that. Because I will call that. Because if you're taking the advantage away from that attacking team, I'll call that. Because if they had a play and you guys didn't know what to do about it, I don't sit there and push the philosophy of the game. I just enforce the rules. All right. Where were we at? Talking about equipment. I already killed that. I don't need to talk about that. Checks. Legal checks, equal pressure. If you accidentally push somebody from behind, and I use the word push, if it's equal pressure, I'm probably not going to call that. What I mean by equal pressure is if you're using the same force as he's using, or if you just do this a little bit, a little nudge on the shoulder that goes to the back, I'm not going to call that. That's an incidental contact. Now, if you stretch your arms out, that's a different story. You can't do this to a player. Hands are apart. For one, you can't do that. You can't punching motion either. Cannot do that. I mean, I'm going over all the different rules for you guys. Half the stuff never even happens because your kid doesn't think about it that way. All they want to do is get the ball passed to somebody else if they're nervous, or score a goal if they're the the kid on your team that you can count on to do that. We try to keep the movement going. So if the ball's staying on the field, we're going to keep it on the field. We try not to blow the whistle. Your checks cannot be from behind. I would tell all the players, stay off the person's back. If you stay off their back, you're going to be doing fine. Just stay off their back. Because you push them on the back, that's going to be a foul. You check them on the back, that's a foul. Anything to do with the back, you're going to get called for that. I tell you kids to hit the numbers. Hit the numbers on the chest. All right, go for the numbers. That's where they can do their check. That's where they can get away with it, for the most part. For the most part. I look for the head that goes up in the air. All right, if I see that the stick went right up into their neck, that's going to be an illegal check, an illegal body check. That's a 1 minute personal foul. They're going to serve their time in the box. If they keep doing it, the penalties progress. They add time. It's my decision what the time is going to be. If I think your kid deserves to be in the box for 3 minutes, in the box for 3 minutes. I will tell you this, some kids that have a short fuse, they're going to spend a lot of time in that box. So put them in check. Fix it. They can do this. It's not that difficult to do. Just go out there and play the game of lacrosse. And oh, by the way, this is not tackle football. Just will let you know that. It's not tackle football. I say that because a lot of players that come over from football, they keep that, they're so used to dropping that shoulder. Their coach teaches them to do that. In lacrosse, we cannot do that. You drop the shoulder or the head, that's going to be at least a 1 minute non-releasable penalty. At least. All right? So, and it depends on how we determine. If you're running down the field and you just drop this after running for 5 yards and continue climbing through people, you're going to be in the box for probably 3 minutes. 3 minutes is a long time. Non-releasable penalties. That's a long time. Any team worth their salt can score a couple of goals in 3 minutes. No, I did not worth their salt. I'm sorry. I'm not going to tell you there. All right. So remember, don't offense too.
No lowering your head on the offense.
Yeah, no, offense and defense. You can't lower your head. Spearing, everybody knows what spearing is? Oh yeah, I gotta get back to you. Yes?
Before you go, one quick clarification on the mouthpieces. I think 2 or 3 years ago, we had a specific rule for the veterans. Then last year or the year before, it was expressly removed, and it should be a tether. And it doesn't matter to me. I know a lot of our kids don't have a tether.
You know what? It doesn't matter to me either. To be honest with you, I don't tether, not tether. I don't care as long as they have a mouthpiece in. What I do care about is half a mouthpiece. I see some of the kids out there, they chew the half the mouthpiece off. I don't even let them hang in their mouth. The mouthpiece is supposed to be in the mouth. It's not called hanging in the mouth. It's a mouthpiece. Put it inside the mouth. That's what it's for. I would tell the kids this. Some kids, it takes me 3 times to do that. And they don't understand why I throw the flag. So I don't like telling kids to put the mouthpiece in. It just screws up the game. The momentum of the game slows down. Your kid gets upset at me for doing that. Just know it, Coach, I'll warn them first. Both teams will get 1 warning each. After that, I enforce the penalties. Yes?
I have a couple questions that are kind of also. 2 minutes, last 2 minutes of the game, 3-4, you're not playing on enforcing keeping in the box.
3-4? No.
Okay.
No.
Last 2 minutes of the game and then 3-4 game on running clock, are you considering stopping the clock?
Yeah, last 2 minutes of the game in 3-4 does stop clock.
Okay. How do you guys handle overtime? Are there any overtimes in 3-4?
Are there overtimes in 3-4?
Yeah.
Are we doing
Do we have
them?
any
Yes.
overtime rules?
Yes. We aren't doing Bravehearts though, okay? Just know that. We don't do Bravehearts. I know how much people like the Bravehearts, but if you look at the rule book this year, it talks about not doing Bravehearts. Okay, specifically because of the checks that are involved in Bravehearts. It looks great to all you coaches, you love it and stuff. Yes, sir.
Not everybody knows Braveheart.
Right. What's that? Braveheart? No, you know what? You're better off not knowing what it is, okay? I'm telling you. You're not missing out. Right, okay. All right, a couple of examples I want to point out to you. On shots, when your team, the attacking team, makes a shot on goal, all right? And this is a particular one because a lot of kids don't know this, and I will say some of the coaches don't know this. If the ball goes out of bounds, you'll see a bunch of kids running to the end line, and you don't know who we're giving it to. We give it to the person where the ball goes out, the closest person to the ball where it goes out. So if it goes on that side of the field and your player's over here close on the line, if he's the closest to the ball, then he's going to get it. If there's somebody back here, you know, this far away from the line, but closer to the ball, versus this guy over here, this person's going to get it closest to the ball where it goes out. Okay, so it doesn't necessarily mean that the person running down, we give it to the goalies a lot of times, because the goalie beats everybody to the ball. And some goalies are pretty good at that. They know how to do that. Yes, sir.
Body part, right? Not the stick.
It's body part. Thank you. It's not the stick. I see some of these kids diving, and it looks good. I didn't go over to it. That was incredible. That was incredible. Like you didn't get the ball. So, I mean, you know, I tell them that. So, and they look up at it. But, you know, I'm not going to sit there and say, look, but you're going to get the ball because you did an Oscar-worthy performance here. Yes, sir.
I have one final question. Can you clarify for goalie clear the ball, follow through, leave the guy standing there? Never
For the goals?
Goalie clear the ball.
If you mean if he misses the goal?
No,
Let's go over interference.
Okay. All right, crease interference, that sort of thing? All right, I'll cover that. All right. There's a line around the cage, as we commonly call it. That line is the goalie's area. It's a cylinder. It goes up, all the way up. So if somebody puts their arm up there and touches the goalie, and his feet are still outside the box, it's still interference. It's a cylinder that goes all the way up. Now, you'll see a lot of, I call them cherry pickers, a lot of the attack submittees get down and they jump crazy, trying to distract the goalie. If he contacts that goalie when the goalie's trying to make a motion to pass that ball, that's going to be goalie interference. Goalie interference gives your team a free clear, all right? And that could be an advantage in a lot of teams. A free clear, the ball goes to the center X, and that's where the ball starts. At center X.
If the goalie follows through, he goes outside the cylinder.
If he's outside the cylinder, the goalie follows through, depending on the severity of the follow through, it could be a slash. If that goalie comes down really hard on that hit, and he's outside the cylinder or inside the cylinder.
He's inside the cylinder, but his stick.
You're talking about it. The goalie has the ball inside the
Just
cylinder.
like
Throws the ball down the field, and the tackle stick hits the stick.
Initially, it's a play on. It's a play on initially. We don't want to take the advantage from your team. So if your team catches the ball in the air, or if it hits the ground once and your team catches it, play on over, your team gets the ball. That's it. We're not going to do anything else about it, all right? Because you guys have the advantage. You regain the advantage. If your goalie gets interfered with and the ball goes down there and bounces twice, we'll kill the play. Goalie interference, the ball goes to center X. The same team gets to take the ball down from the center of the field. Does that answer your question?
I'm actually going the other way. Describing the goalie tries to get interference by following his stick through the attacking team.
Right. The goalie's pass, he takes a stick outside the cylinder, but he's within the crease. And he makes contact with the attacking stick while he has
It's a judgment call, unfortunately. A seasoned ref will know it, because some goalies are taught to do that.
Ball
But
one is not controlled, the goalie plants the ball outside. That's the one.
you're right. Yes, that's a good point. The ball, if the ball is outside the crease and the goalie puts his cross on top of it, that doesn't mean he's got the ball. If your guy comes in there and he wants to try to get that ball out, he can do that. What he can't do is kick through the stick. Can't do that at all. No kicking through the stick, not even on face-off that happens. You'll see that every now and then. And I'll call that. And I don't have time to explain it because we want to try to get the game moving. I'll tell you the dead ball situation. And oh, by the way, if you have any questions or clarification on rules, technicalities, hit us up on a dead ball situation. Or at the court. We don't mind that. We don't mind that. As again, I'm going to stress this, as long as it doesn't become a personal issue. The moment you start attacking the refs, we don't have time for you anymore. All right? We don't have time for you anymore. And this is the other thing. Head coaches are the only ones that are allowed to speak to us. All right? Head coaches. Not the assistant coaches. Head coaches. I'm not able about that until it gets out of hand. Some assistant coaches don't know when to shut their mouth. So that's when I tell the coach, hey, head coach, please tell your assistant coach to refrain. And then if it continues, the head coach has to deal with the penalties. And your in-home serves that. Everybody know what the in-home is? Yeah. Number one attack in the book? Your best player most of the time. If he's on the field, he's going to be served the coach's penalty. I like that. I like that. So, and if he's not on the field, guess who gets to pick the person? There's a question. Yes, sir.
I've heard two different ways on this, that kicks the ball into the net, that is legal now?
Yeah, yes it is. Yep, it is. Even though I don't like soccer or field hockey, it's still good.
Okay.
It happens.
Last year, I think they said it was, this year they're saying it is. That's why-
Yeah. There was a situation last year at a high school game. Goalie gets the ball, the attackman shoots on the goal, the goalie catches it, goes back to do his pass. Ball's in his net. It fell in the cross. It fell in the cage. That big goal. It's a goal. It's a goal. Okay? It happens. Yes, sir. Okay. Hey, quiet, please. Yes.
Stick is checked out, the ball stays in it.
If this, I'm sorry.
If we say an offensive player, they check out his game with the ball stays in it, it's supposed to be a change of possession here, is that right?
One more time, sir.
Okay, I'm the attack, and I get the stick checked out of my hand.
Yeah.
The ball stays in the cross, it rolls on the ground. The rules state now that it's a change of possession.
Yes. Change of possession. Yes. And guys, I see this too often. Not at the 7, 8 or below, but high school does this. If the stick does get checked out of the